Hello, I'm Reverend Jack Gady, and my pronouns are he, him. Welcome to our special Memorial Day weekend service here at White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. We are a community of people of diverse ages and theologies and backgrounds and perspectives who agree to be together in specific ways. The spirit of this church is love, and its law is service. Once per week, we name out loud our aspirational covenant to help one another, to seek the truth in love, and to dwell together in peace. A simple-sounding promise, sure, but it's actually quite challenging, and it requires for us to be spiritually grounded, both as individuals and as a community. This morning's service is an invitation to deepen our understanding of practices that can help nurture your spirit and deepen your relationship to your interior life. Because this is a virtual service, we have more freedom to take you with us outside on a nature walk, or to tell you a story about water while sitting near a stream or in front of a stream. We hope that you use some of that same freedom to engage with this service in the way that will be most useful to you. Maybe you'll choose to watch the service live at 10 a.m. on Sunday when it premieres on YouTube, or maybe you'll listen to it later in the week. Maybe you'll be sitting indoors in your usual place, or maybe you'll take the service outside with you on a mobile device. However you engage, I hope that you will come away with some fresh perspectives on spiritual practices, on how to tend to your interior life. Enter into this time and space which we make holy by our attention. Enter in with all of who you are, your full spectrum of being, with no need to hide or pretend or be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Enter into this place where we can impact and be impacted by each other, forgive and be forgiven. Enter into this space where we sanctify ordinary things, where we celebrate human things, and we expect compassion. Enter into this space which together we make a holy time and space. Welcome.
My name is Teal Bassett. My pronouns are she, her. I left work just in time to get to the bus stop to pick up the kids. I hadn't taken a lunch break because I work a short shift on this day of the week. The girls dropped their enormous backpacks and kicked off their shoes, happy to be home after a long and hot bus trip across town. I gave them both a good hug. The floor hadn't been vacuumed for a week. Kitty hair and dust is starting to build up. The dishes are still out from breakfast. I looked longingly at the dried out bagel left over on my daughter's plate. I am hungry. There's a specific type of rage that builds up in me when the house is a mess and my tummy is grumbling. Today is a ballet class night for my kids, which means a very quick snack, ballet bun hair, and changing into dance uniform. I brush the snarls out of their hair. I'm never as gentle as I could be, and my children let me know it. However, they do have perfect ballet buns. We rush out to the van. As I drop them off, I call out to the ballerinas to have fun. I even sneak in a kiss on my youngest's cheek as she climbs out of the van. It's a quiet drive back home through horse pastures and rolling forest. I look to see if the black stallion is out in her pasture today. She is. I arrive home and immediately start dinner so it will be done when the kids return. I decide broccoli Alfredo pasta will be easiest. The broccoli will soon go bad, so this is a good choice. I'm so hungry. I start washing the broccoli. There is butter and cream and salt to add. The girls get home and we eat. A day is just a series of tasks and events, of huge accomplishments and silly, mundane chores. If I were to ask you, did this typical busy day of mine include a spiritual practice in between the rushing and the fretting and the starvation? My first thought would be, not really, no. You seemed crabby and messy, and girl, you really need to eat lunch. And yet, maybe yes. The tending to my child's hair, pouring fish crackers into a small bowl, in remembering to notice the beautiful horse along my route. Was this a simple prayer of acknowledging the greater web in which I live? In the chopping of the broccoli, was this a meditation of impermanence? Fulfilling needs and throwing out kisses, is this anything but a spiritual practice? It's so easy to be hard on myself for not being enough, doing enough. The sanity that I have feels so thin at times. In these long, busy days, all I have is a moment to remember that I am a sacred being, walking on a sacred world with a sacred purpose. I am lighting this chalice today to remember that we are all holy in our imperfections, in our busyness and anxiousness. Take a moment to feel the grace that this day is giving us. Let that be enough today to remember who we are, sacred.
Please join me in the opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, muscles and bones. You ease the pain. Loosen, baby, and hold carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease the pain. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease the pain. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. You ease the pain. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
My name is Amy, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Director of Religious Education. Today's story is called A Frog in a Shallow Well, and it's told by Sarah Conover and Chen Wei in the book Harmony, A Treasury of Chinese Wisdom for Children and Parents. Long ago, a frog lived in a shallow well, but he did not know how very small it was. One day, a friend of his, a turtle from the East Sea, came by. The frog looked at the blue circle of sky above him and noticed the turtle peering down into the well. The frog croaked, "Hello, friend. I am so happy you've come for a visit." Hopping about in excitement, he added, "I bet you were just thinking about how perfect my home is. I think it is too." The frog jumped up onto the rim of the well. "See, when I want to go out, I can hop to the rim in one jump." And the frog jumped back into the well. "And when I come home, I simply hop down and find a cozy hole in the broken wall of the well." The frog noticed that his friend, the turtle, did not seem so impressed. So he continued to brag. "If I jump into the water, it comes right up to my armpits and holds up my cheeks so I can rest. And if I choose to walk in the mud, it covers up my feet so they never dry out." Well, the turtle still seemed unmoved by these facts, so the frog thought of a few more things to boast about. "When I look around at the wiggly worms, the little crabs and tadpoles, none of them compare with me. I am lord of these waters, and so I am satisfied." The frog thought it odd that the turtle had yet to offer some praise in response to this. Then it occurred to him that the turtle might not feel welcome in the frog's home. So the frog said, "My dear friend, why don't you come in and look around my place?" The turtle smiled and slowly began to climb down into the frog's well. But before the turtle could get very far, his right knee got stuck in the wall's small opening. The turtle hesitated and then retreated. Then the turtle explained to the frog about the great East Sea. "My friend," he said, "I live in a place so vast you cannot imagine it. Even the distance of 1,000 li cannot give you an inkling of the East Sea's width. Even the height of 1,000 ren cannot give you the idea of the East Sea's depth." The frog listened intently, but was not convinced. He himself lived in the largest body of water that he knew, but the turtle had more to say. In the time of King Yu in the Jia dynasty, there were floods 9 years out of 10, but the waters in the sea did not increase. The frog's eyes grew large at this fact. "And then," said the turtle, "in the time of King Tang of the Shang dynasty, there were droughts of 7 years out of 8, but the waters in the sea did not decrease." The frog looked confused and alarmed. "The sea does not change with the passage of time," said the turtle, "and it is so enormous that its level does not rise or fall according to the rain that falls." "My friend," said the turtle, "I must tell you that the greatest happiness of all is to live in the immeasurable East Sea." And after listening to the turtle's words, the frog began to understand that there were so many, many things he had yet to learn and many things he had yet to see.
Hi everybody, my name is Olivia Dierks. I'm the interim music director here at White Bear and my pronouns are she, her. And I wanted to share a little bit today about the spiritual practice of music making, kind of how that manifests for me in my life. I've been playing the cello forever, since I was 4, and so music has always been a big part of my life. But I'd say it wasn't until high school or maybe early college that I really viewed it as a spiritual practice, and that was when I truly started improvising on my instrument. And I think that art of creating something spontaneous and on the spot sort of requires of a person to think outside of themselves, but simultaneously within themselves. And I've found, especially since having my first child 5 years ago, this duality of life, right, shows up everywhere. It's everywhere, these two truths that we hold all the time, and these dichotomies that we live within and between, holding two things at once. And so again, that sort of art of improvisation and music making has become a spiritual practice for me, because it requires of me to pay attention to what's going on internally, so to quiet some things, to let some things speak, and to really discern sort of what my spirit is saying. And simultaneously, I'm feeling connected to something greater than myself. And I find that to be a spiritual connection. I call it God, because I just feel it so deeply in my bones that whatever's coming out of my instrument and coming into my fingers is within, yes, and also without. It's from somewhere else, and it connects me to something greater. And I feel that really deeply when I improvise on my instrument. I remember a time that I was outside, actually, and a connection to nature in addition to improvisation is like the ultimate, right? It feels so grounding and centering to be spontaneous musically, in particular when I'm surrounded by such beauty and such sort of realness. And I remember a time that I was improvising outside. I was by the water, and I don't remember which, I think it was a river, at any rate. And it was kind of overcast. And it was maybe before a wedding or something that I was playing. And I just continued to improvise and sort of listening to the river flow, kind of feeling that within my own self. And getting to the point where, as I was continuing on, feeling that connection to something outside of myself. And at that moment, this sounds like it couldn't be true, but it was. Just a beam of sunlight broke through the clouds, and I felt just that nature and whatever that is outside of me was sort of smiling on that moment, and viewing it as a moment of purity and beauty and connectedness and truth. And I felt so grounded and centered in that moment, in myself, and also so connected to everything around me. And that's really what music offers for me as a spiritual practice.
My name is Reverend Jessica, and my pronouns are she, her. Today, we're talking about spiritual practices. On this cusp of summer, I know for many people, summer provides a lot of spiritual practices, from digging our hands into our gardens, if that is your joy, or going for walks, or that first dip in a lake after the long winter, although our winter wasn't that long this year, but you know what I mean, the long winter of not getting a swim outside. So today I want to talk to you about a spiritual practice that I have been doing for many years now. I collect poetry books like they are candy, and they all sit on my shelf and call out to me. And what I like to do on mornings when I have the space and create a little time, a little intention behind it, is pull one off a shelf, get my cup of coffee, have it sit next to me, and just open it and see what poem my eyes set upon. So I have a couple to share with you this morning. The first is from this book, How to Love the World, Poems of Gratitude and Hope. And this is edited by James Cruz. And the poem I want to share with you today is by Heather Swan. And it's titled, Another Day Filled with Sleeves of Light. Another day filled with sleeves of light, and I carry ripened plums, waiting to find the one who is interested in tasting. How can we ever be known? Today the lily sends up a fifth white-tipped tendril, the promise of another flower opening. And I think this must mean this plant is happy here, in this house, by this window. Is this the right deduction? The taller plant leans and leans towards the light. I turn it away, and soon its big hands are reaching again towards what nourishes it, but which it can never touch. Couldn't the yellowing leaves of the maple and their falling also be a sign of joy? Another kind of leaning into, a letting go of one thing to fall into another, a kind of trust I cannot imagine. a kind of trust I cannot imagine. So my poetry practice helps me set an intention for the day. Sometimes poetry makes me think my brain doesn't work quite the way it should to understand it. If a poem might be a little more obscure, but I think of it like growing and stretching a muscle of sometimes just to let the words soak in, and they don't have to create such meaning is another kind of invitation. I also love this book of poetry, Being Home by Gunilla Norris. And in this poem, she writes everything from waking up in the morning one day to going to sleep. And so she writes a poem about all the things that she does. And she centers them around as if they are spiritual practices. And for her, that is connecting to God, but you could very easily place love in that space as well. And so one of my favorite poems from this, which reminds us that spiritual practices can happen at any time, such as leaving or entering your home. This one is titled Crossing the Threshold. Many times today I will cross over a threshold. I hope I will catch a few of those times. I need to remember that my life is, in fact, a continuous series of thresholds, from one moment to the next, from one thought to the next, from one action to the next. Help me appreciate how awesome this is. How many are the chances to really be alive, to be aware of the enormous dimension we live within? On the threshold of the entire past and the endless future, they rush to meet one another. They take hold of each other and laugh. They are so happy to discover themselves in the awareness of a human creature. On the threshold, the present breaks all boundaries. It is a convergence, a fellowship with all time and space. We find you there, and we are found by you there. Help me cross into the present moment, into wonder, into your grace, that now place where we all are, unfolding as your life, moment by moment. Let me live on the threshold as threshold. So whatever thresholds you cross today, may this service be a balm to your spirit, encourage you towards seeing those everyday life activities as spiritual practices, and maybe the possibility of setting aside 5 minutes a day to do something like read poetry, take a moment to pause in a threshold, to connect to love, the love that is the center of who we are and how we are connected to another.
Good morning, friends. My name is Erin. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the graphic and content specialist. One of my spiritual practices is what I like to call my top 10 list. I do this practice each evening as Eva and I settle into bed. I list out loud 10 things that happened in my day. It's part prayer, it's part meditation, it's part gratitude journal, and it's like a highlights reel. I used to write these things down, but I find that saying them out loud resonates more. What this practice encourages me to do is to take notice during my day, to be present. We all know it's so easy to fly through a day on autopilot and not remember or notice anything. Some days my list is full of big, obvious things, like getting to see the Indigo Girls for the 21st time or attending a reunion of my beloved high school theater friends, or randomly nailing the Wordle on the second try. Most days, though, it's small things. Perhaps it's what I made for breakfast that morning, or maybe it's the quiver of Eva's leash as she does her field research when we take our walk, or being in the exact right place at the right time for an amazing photo capture. Or it's the internet bringing forward some bit of information and something that I never ever considered before. And on other days, the more challenging ones, that list is sometimes hard to build and could hold something as simple as just being able to put my head on that pillow and rest. What this practice does for me is it allows me to go to sleep with a grateful heart each night.
My spiritual practice is trying to maintain a posture of curiosity. I really enjoy asking questions and wrestling with questions, not just by myself, but with the others around me. I think maintaining a posture of curiosity helps me approach new situations with learner's eyes, with beginner's mind. It helps me in my own spiritual practices of running and yoga when I feel pain in my body to hold it with curiosity instead of judgment. I really enjoy listening to other people's stories, and this is not always easy to maintain a posture of curiosity when judgment is the first thing that comes to mind. And so I try to take a breath and remember that there are gifts in learning about other people's stories, learning about my own journey, learning about what my kids are holding and what the world around me is wrestling with. Curiosity is my spiritual practice.
People come take my hand, walk with me on this road, walk
am not one for seated meditations necessarily. I love moving meditations. And I wanted to take you on one with me where we can just walk together and notice the things around us and ask some questions. So whatever you're doing, feel free to either walk with me if you can do that, or if you're needing to sit, to close your eyes and imagine yourself on this walk. Maybe notice some of the things with me, whether that's visually or bird song, whatever it is. Let's just take a walk together. As we walk, we notice whether you're moving your body with me or imagining the motion. Just notice what's happening. Taking in the world as we go. Here and there, when I'm on a walk, I feel myself connected more deeply to that greater web of interdependence that we talk about so often. Stepping on blades of grass and twigs, we're affecting nature as we walk on it. We're also being affected by nature. Maybe we're feeling calmer, more centered. For me, especially this time of year, just hearing the birds sing, I can feel my shoulders relax and feel some of that tension go away. And it makes me curious, like this tree, for instance. This tree has stories. There's mushrooms, there's probably things that happened because of a woodpecker, I'm assuming, and maybe a storm. What life did this tree lead? What can we learn from this tree? In what ways am I affected by the mushrooms that cling to my bark? Or what woodpeckers have annoyed me, even if they are looking for food? I can't imagine it's pleasant for the tree. Hearing and feeling the wind. Hearing the other noises of life, man-made and natural. Smelling the lilacs. Our moving meditation is wrapping up here, but you can always pause this if you're watching later and continue your own walk, or continue your own walk just later today, this week, finding your own moving meditation. It can give calm to your spirit while motion and flow to your body. Thanks for joining me.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
I think that sometimes people think that because I'm a minister, I'm an expert in spiritual practices. I hate to burst that bubble, but it's just not true. I am a practitioner. Expert is a term we use that is a lot more knowledge-based and has to do with grasping. My expertise, if we want to use that word, is in practicing a spirit of curiosity. I ask myself, do I feel grounded right now? If not, what does my body need? What does my body need? Or is it something that my spirit needs? Does my emotional landscape need some watering or weeding? This practice of curiosity and this practice of tending to my needs is a thing I am gaining expertise in. But really, I'm just a lot more comfortable with using the language of practitioner. That's the term used in the practice of yoga and of meditation, and it feels more appropriate. And I think all of us are practitioners in a lot of ways. Every month, this congregation engages with a different worship theme that also has a practice to complement it. In May, it's the theme of pluralism with the practice of curiosity. We've been practicing together for many years using these worship themes and practices. We're becoming practitioners together, and that's part of being in a spiritual community like this one. I heard a quote from David Foster Wallace many years ago, and it has really stuck with me. I know that I've brought it up before, but it bears repeating. He says, "In the day-to-day trenches of adult life, there is actually no such thing as atheism. There is no such thing as not worshiping. Everybody worships. The only choice we get is what to worship." Here is where it's important to define worship. I define worship as considering things of worth. And even if someone doesn't intentionally set out to worship something, they still show you with their words and actions what they consider things of worth. Where do people spend their time? That is what they consider worthwhile, right? We can say that we don't consider, for instance, television worthwhile, but if we watch 2 hours per day, our actions beg to differ. Wallace goes on to say, if you worship money and things, then you will never have enough. Worship your own body and beauty and sexual allure, and you will always feel ugly. And when time and age start showing, you will die a million deaths before they finally plant you. Worship power, you will feel weak and afraid, and you will need ever more power over others to keep the fear at bay. Worship your intellect, being seen as smart, you will end up feeling stupid, a fraud, always on the verge of being found out, and so on. Now, I'm not sure about you, but here's the part in the quote where I'm starting to feel like he knows me a little too well. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with how personal he's getting, naming these big, sweeping predictions or making these generalizations, but a little part of me thinks that he might be right. And now, using that definition of worship, where the things that we worship are what we spend our time with or give our attention to, listen to what else he says. And an outstanding reason for choosing some kind of God or spiritual type thing to worship, be it JC or Allah, be it Yahweh or the Wiccan Mother Goddess, or the Four Noble Truths, or some infrangible set of ethical principles, is that pretty much anything else you worship will eat you alive. Whoa, okay, that's a bold statement, and one I'm going to stay curious about over the next few weeks. For me, this just brings into focus the importance of spiritual practices. For this last hour, you've heard from many people a bit more about the way they spend their time, the things that they're giving their attention to, the things they consider worthwhile. What are the things that you approach with intention and reverence? And this is a practice, right? We're practitioners, not experts. We still might fall back into some of our default settings where we end up worshiping the scrolling of social media or the obsession on some of our past hurts or wrongs. But I wonder what things can pull us out of those unhealthy default settings. What things can we choose to give our attention to that will keep us grounded and centered, balanced and joyful, loving and connected? I hope that you've already been spending time thinking about your own sense of worship, the default settings that you wish to avoid, and the spiritual practices you plan to seek out. I hope that you find the nurture and care that you need as you do this hard and holy work of caring for yourself and for those you love, attending both to your external needs and the needs of your interior life. May it be so, and amen. Please join me in the closing words. May peace dwell within our hearts and understanding in our minds. May courage steel our will and love of truth forever guide us.